So, which one is better, Spain or UK? The brutal truth, according to a British man living in Spain with his family. That's going to be Brendan Chaplin. And this is his channel, by the way, which I suggest you subscribe if you want to learn more about his journey in this, new life that he's now embarking into after 18 months. This is his opinion. Guys, welcome to the channel, The Modern Survivalist. Before we go on, several things. First, if you want to follow his channel, you have the link there below. Also, in the links there below, you will have my books, which I suggest you get if you want to get better prepared for everything that's happening all over the world. You have survival skills, you have surviving the economic collapse, and for this sort of thing specifically, I wrote a book about it, which is called Bugging Out and Relocating, which you have there below. Now, a lot has changed since I first wrote this book many years ago. The basics, the fundamentals on how you go about this process, the things you should analyze and look, those still very much apply, maybe now more than ever. So keep that in mind. Let's get to this. Another thing before we go on, I'm not talking about someone else's experience alone. I have gone through these things myself. I have lived in these places. I know what I'm talking about. I have family still living everywhere that I'm talking about. I know this. If not, I would not be doing this, let alone giving you guys advice. If you are considering leaving the UK specifically, stay for this video. I doubt you will get more important information for the things that you're probably thinking about. Again, this is what I do. This is what I write about. This is what I've been doing for years. So I'm sure I can help you out with a few more things. If you want is specific consulting, I do that too. You have my information there below. But the basics of this apply for everyone, no matter where you are, when you're considering relocating elsewhere because you're not happy with the conditions that you have at home. This goes for people in the United States or anywhere else, all right? And at the same time, one last thing that I want to say, I'm not judging anyone. If you want to stay living in Spain, if you want to stay living in UK, if you want to stay living in Argentina, or wherever it is, if there's one thing I understand is that I can do all of the objective analysis that I can. This is still very much a very subjective life that you have. It is yours, and no one else should tell you how to live it. Let's get to this thing.
So the question everybody wants the answer to is life better in the UK or in Spain? Well, I'm going to tackle that in today's video, so let's get into it. So we moved to Spain just about 18 months ago now, in 2023, and we did it because basically I'd had enough of the United Kingdom. The bad weather, the high taxes, the high cost of living, all of that kind.
Weather, yes. Taxes you will still have pretty high in Spain. Cost of living, definitely. He's been there 18 months. And that's a nice stretch. Usually the first year, that's a honeymoon period. No matter where you are, unless you really made a horrible mistake, first year, it's a honeymoon period. Everything is new, fresh, and you could stretch it a little bit more. But I think he's a very intelligent man. He has a very nice understanding of things, and I pretty much agree with everything he said. But yeah. And this can change. Maybe in another year or so, he says, he changes, the country changes, conditions change. But I will also say this, when things have changed this much, you don't see a turnaround in a very short period of time. What's happening right now in UK did not happen overnight. A lot of it is Brexit, yeah, quite a bit, but a lot of the more deeper troubles, the things that have been like rotting under the surface, it's been going way beyond Brexit.
Stuff. And it was genuinely affecting my mental health and my wife's too. And our children were at an age where we wanted to move them out of school at the age they were, 5 or 6 at the time, maybe even 4, and give them an opportunity to soak up the languages and so on and so forth.
Great age, because it's still kind of the age in which kids are still very much innocent, and you will always have trouble. You will always have a parent or a kid that is an asshole, and usually it's going to be things that repeat the kids being told and said by the parent. Oh, look at all of these Brits now coming over here, or bullshit like that. It will always be something of that. And the same goes the other way around. The other way around is going to be the exact same thing, no matter where you go. And these are all things you need to grow a bit of a thicker skin and understand this is how it's going to be. But at that age, kids learn languages in ways you will not believe. And my advice for him and anyone doing this is speak your language. Whatever language it is, keep speaking your language. Your house, you should still keep speaking in English. You have to make an effort to keep writing and teaching your kids, because they will pick up Spanish like nothing. School will take care, well, kind of take care of all of this stuff. You still have to be a parent, but a kid can be bilingual, can be trilingual. A baby can learn languages easier than an adult, than a grown man, simply because of the brain being a sponge, soaking everything in. I've had this happen when I was in UK, and the teacher was, well, you really should try to speak in English at home. And I was like, because I just know that she does not know. And I'm not here to teach a grown person how to do their job, but I know she's wrong. I know she does not understand. I know because I was growing up in Argentina, going to an English school where a lot of English people were sending their kids, and they kept on speaking English in their houses, and they spoke both languages perfectly well. The kid can learn 2-3 languages. If your wife speaks something else, your wife should speak to the child in her language. You should speak to her in your... Yeah, I know this sounds super confusing. Trust me. And it's scientifically proven, by the way. You can research this stuff. It actually makes for a more intelligent person growing up. If a child has this scenario that I'm talking about, 3 different languages, wherever the country is, one parent and the other, that kid is going to be considerably smarter, because their brain is going to adapt in ways that other childs will not. They will just be clever, smarter, and better at pretty much any intellectual function. It's wild. That's just the way it goes.
But has it worked? Well, I'm here to give you that. And I can tell you, first and foremost, our life here is genuinely like nothing I could have ever imagined. It's sunny today, but we get probably 250 days of sun in the year. Course. There's a good amount of rain as well. It's not all sun and it's not all roses. There's definitely downsides too.
Oh, I hate doing this, stopping all the time. Keep in mind, Spain, even though it's not a big country, I mean, it is big in terms of Europe, but it's not a massive country. You have very different climates. On the north, it's almost like living in UK. In the north of Spain, it's always going to be rainy and cloudy. East, south, yeah, there you have the nicer weather. In Madrid, like in the center, it's very much like, you have snow in winter, you have very hot summers, and weather is nice, but yeah, in the coast, definitely nicer.
But overall, I would say that we enjoy the weather in a way that I never thought possible. It does have more of an impact on my life and my well-being than I ever realized.
There you go.
And the same for my children, and the same for my wife too.
Massive.
My children scoot along the boardwalk, they play out till 7, 8 at night. They enjoy that lifestyle that kind of I only really remembered when I was a kid, that seems to have been lost in the United Kingdom. Part of that is weather, but part of that is actually overall feeling of safety and being a part of a community. And that is a bonus, an added bonus that I didn't anticipate. I didn't know that when we moved here. But I can absolutely tell you that a big, big positive of living in Spain is the community. You definitely feel like part of a community here. We live in a small city in Catalonia.
That's going to be key, exactly where you live. If you live in the middle of the center of Madrid, there's going to be people, usually Spanish people are going to be more open and, yeah, a little bit more like warmer and friendlier than in UK. That does not mean that people in UK are not friendly. I can tell you about my own experience. I had kids from all over the neighborhood running into and out of my house within weeks of living there, because it was a small community, small suburban area in a cul-de-sac, and that was the way it was there. So he is right. It does not mean that's always going to be there. It depends on what community, and it's usually going to be that the smaller community that has more of a friendly family vibe will be better at it.
South of Barcelona, and everybody comes out to play, the children are playing, there's lots of festivals and festivities happening. Just the other night we went out and there's lots of market stalls and all of that kind of stuff. They really foster that community environment, and for me that seems to be completely absent in the United Kingdom right now. I was back in the UK for a period of time just a couple of weeks ago, and just never have that. People don't seem to mix in the same way that maybe when I was a child in the 80s and 90s, that would have been more. I feel like I had more of.
Everyone will tell you the same thing. Even in Spain, people, oh, back in the day, we were even friendlier. And, you know, he's right about what he's saying, but also keep in mind, everything has changed everywhere to some degree.
That when I was a child, and now my children are getting that, albeit in a different language with different people.
Yeah.
But that's cool too. We've got friends and family. We've got friends from Europe. We've got friends from the UK that live out here. We've got Spanish people. We've got Swedish and Nordic people, and everybody and everything. Really, really healthy environment.
He's also mentioning everyone, he's mentioning people that are all over from Europe. That is a big thing. Yeah, it sounds like a soup salad of cultures, but they have certain common values, which I'm not going to get political in this video, even though I get political in every single one of my other videos. But not getting political in this one, it's not the same thing in UK. A lot of the people that are going to UK do not share those same common values, and that makes a massive difference.
Literally, last week I took my family and a friend of mine that was staying here out for lunch in the local town, and we had a round of drinks each, and we had 2 or 3 tapas, and they were big plates, patatas bravas and chorizo and 1 or 2 others, and the entire bill, I kid you not, was 16 euros. Now we weren't.
That is super cheap. I mean, it can happen. I'm not saying it's not true. I don't doubt that one bit. But it's going to be on the very small towns. And you may have the best time of your life because what he said before, the weather, the environment, the people. So maybe you're in a great little place in some wonderful, magical little town with a view of the sea and whatnot. And yeah, you have a few drinks. But I don't drink, so I don't. But in terms of food, it's gonna be probably a bit more expensive than that. Tapas is you ask for a beer and they bring something else to bite on, right? The tapa culture has shifted a little bit, but still exists very much. So yeah, you have a couple beers for everyone, and maybe they bring something to eat a little bit, and you're fine with that. You're not a big eater, so for 16 bucks, a couple people are good. It is not that everywhere you go in Spain, you're gonna spend 16 bucks for a bunch of people.
Drinking a ton of alcohol or anything like that, but the point is, you can take your family out for a lovely lunch or dinner, and you can spend
it's gonna be cheaper.
Really anything as low as sort of 20 to 30 euros. And you just cannot do that anymore in the UK.
He's right about that.
So expensive. Completely it's almost true. Cost prohibitive for lots of families. And where Pizza Express, I used to take my kids and family out there for 30 quid. That same meal is 60, 90, 100 pounds now.
Crazy.
Fish and chips is 30, 40 Crazy. Quid for a family. It's not cheap to live in the UK. You need to be earning more money to have the same lifestyle, minus some of the negatives that you get in that country, such as the weather and other things. So another thing I really noticed here was the health system. Coming from the UK, we almost have this like perverse pride of the National Health Service where nobody can say anything wrong about it. And I get it, because it definitely delivers for sure.
Oh, again, I'll have to stop there. The NHS used to be something to be proud of in UK. Now it's just embarrassing. Why? And I've had good experience with the NHS. Again, living in a smaller community, in a smaller town, less people. But, and this is a massive but, what it has been becoming for many years now and what it is now it is embarrassing, because now it is about denying service as much as possible. Someone goes with a lump. And oh, that lump is probably nothing. Come back in a couple more months. Oh, that lump is now the size of a baseball. Okay, no, that you're probably fine. Come back in a few more months. Oh, now it's the size of a fucking rugby ball, and there's nothing we can do. And yeah, there's no point in treating you. And this, as crazy as it sounds, is the mantra of the NHS as of right now. Deny service as much as you can until it's too late and you cannot do anything. And making this even worse, the idea of, to avoid embarrassment, when you are almost terminal, they will deny you the right to go get treatment elsewhere. It's been the case of many people that want to go get treatment in Spain or in Italy, and the UK government does not allow you to do that, so as to avoid the embarrassment of saving the life of a child in another country which they wanted to see die. It's crazy, but it's exactly like that. So there's no comparison whatsoever. Spain has one of the best healthcare systems in the world. NHS is an embarrassment right now, and I'm talking about private and public services. Whatever the case is, there's no comparison whatsoever. Nothing is perfect. If you ask any Spaniard, he's going to say, this is the worst system. He's going to complain because Spanish people do that quite a bit, and they're right about, well, it used to be better before. Yeah, it was insane before. It got to the point where anyone went to the doctor when they were bored, basically, especially old people, and that is not the case anymore, and there's a little bit more delay, and it's not as, but it is still one of the best systems you can have in planet Earth. So he's absolutely right about Spain being much better, much better in healthcare than UK.
Things going on, and they do look after you and they do care for you.
Yeah.
But it's hard to get an appointment. You can wait months and months to see a doctor or to go to hospital. My 2 children, myself and my wife, who live out here, have literally been able to go and see a doctor within 48 hours and see an actual doctor.
Oh, not even with, I don't know exactly where he is, but you will get seen by a doctor immediately. I don't know if he has private healthcare. If you have private healthcare, it is immediately. If you have public healthcare, maybe you will have to wait for a couple hours. If there's a lot of people, like there's lots of kids and so, maybe you will have to wait for a couple hours. I'm not saying not. But I know of this guy, Barber, that he broke his hand in a motorcycle accident. And he had to wait like several months. But he got reconstructive surgery, getting bone from his hip and into his hand. It was like over a year between surgeries, but the guy got full motor skill recovery of his hand, and he was able to do his job again, all through the public service in Spain. That is something you will not see in UK. Not to that level, not nearly as good.
In person, not speak through an app or a callback or something like that. The health service, I'm sorry to say, is just better.
Much better
in Spain
than
it is in the UK. Don't ask me how they do it and all of that kind of stuff, but I do feel
it's much better.
Public structures and systems in this country are far better and work for the people far.
I will say this. There's things, especially in terms of bureaucracy, especially in terms of picking up a phone and saying, yeah, my name is da-da-da-da, I live here and here, and maybe a number of your passport, whatever, and you get shit done through the phone in UK much quicker. In Spain, it's going to be, well, you have to show up to this place and do this and get this stamp and have this. So in terms of bureaucracy, Spain is, I will say it's worse than UK. Yeah, in some aspects, it's much worse than UK. Things that in UK, you can just pick up the phone and 2 seconds, okay, all sorted out. In Spain, it's, but there's a thing about bureaucracy, there's a thing about the culture, there's again a thing about the public aspect of things, the public worker, which I believe if someone says, oh, it's much worse in Spain, I will not say otherwise. And then someone may have a great experience with other things, which I hear very often. But yeah, be ready for that.
More than in the UK. You feel like the taxes are being used to good effect here, as opposed to just seemingly disappearing. And I don't want to get political on this. That's not what this is about. But I do think right now, in 2025,
he's right.
You get a lot more for your money and for your investment in Spain versus the UK. Maybe that will change.
You'll pay a lot either way. You know, in one or the other, the tax, it's going to be very high either way. But it is true that you get a lot. Certainly in healthcare, there's no comparison. Education, I will even say, this idea that the British education, dude, yeah, it's gonna be as good or better. Depends exactly on where you are. Again, this is a big difference depending on where you are. There's the PISA tests, these international tests. You will be able. Northern Spain is usually gonna be better education than southern Spain. Central is very good. Madrid, very good. But all around, it's gonna be a lot more about the child. You will get bilingual public schools no matter where you are in Spain if you want to find them. And then it's gonna be about the parent and the kid and the student, how much they want to work and study. But yeah. You get more bang for your buck, I guess.
In years to come, maybe they will right some of the wrongs. Maybe they just will get it. But for now, I don't see that happening, and I think you're better off in this environment from a public health perspective. But let's just address the elephant in the room. Is it a better lifestyle in the UK, or is it a better lifestyle in Spain? Well, all of those factors go into it. And definitely for us, it is a better lifestyle. It is a better life, for sure. But that doesn't mean it will be for you, because there are things that we miss. Definitely miss my friends, definitely miss my family, for sure. But we are a 2.5 hour flight from London and Leeds.
Also true.
So there's a limit. You can get back. If we lived in London and my family's in Leeds, that's probably 2 hours to get up there. Most people I know, my friends who live in London, their families don't live in London. They probably see their families less than we see ours living in Spain. It's not perfect. I'm definitely not saying that, but what you do get here is really, really nice for sure. So what will our future look like? Well, who knows? We're really enjoying Spain. We really enjoy the life that it affords us, absolutely. And we're making more friends here, and we're becoming more integrated in society here, but who knows what's around the corner.
Yeah.
The weather speaks for a lot for me. I absolutely love finer weather, being able to be outdoors, be healthier. Big positive of this environment.
Weather is a big thing, and this is something I learned over the years. Back in the day when I wrote this, I was a guy that I enjoy rain. I like cold climates. I enjoy that. I thought that, and I still feel that way. I like when it rains. I like cloudy weather. But it is one thing to like cloudy weather and rain and snow, and then there's the gloom, the gloomy thing. The sky always being gray. The lack of sunshine affects you in psychological terms as well. This is something that there's a lot of research you can dig into. But the dark weather affects you in so many ways. Sunny weather makes for a happier lifestyle in general. And even if you're like me that says, oh, but I like cloudy skies. Well, yeah. Let's talk about living that way for a couple years when you see, and it's always great. One of the things one of my kids did when living over there was that it was, and I went to school, and every single kid painted the sky gray because the sky was always gray. So it's not a blue sky. The sky is gray where you live, so you paint it gray. And then you go, shit, right. That's how it goes. And then for other kids, and this is something you learn, what's going on? Where's the sun? No, sweetheart, it's just cloudy. But the sun is not in the sky. And no, every once in a while, there's gonna be clouds and you will not be able to see the sun. Okay, so it's not the end of the world. No, it's not. The world is not ending. It's just cloudy weather. When you are in a place that has 250 days of sunshine, that's the kind of way kids, it's gonna be different. And that's and it has an impact on your, happiness level and depression, that being a big thing for some people. Not my case, not in my family, fortunately, but I know that for some people it's massive. So he is right about the weather aspect. Even if you're not one of those people, I had a friend that no great society grew under a palm tree. Kind of like fucked up, but also kind of true, Then again, you think about the Greek society and the Roman society. Those guys enjoy pretty pleasant weather, and that's the foundation of the civilized world as we know it, right? So, yeah, so much for that, Anyway, he makes some great points.
Is you are outside a lot more. You don't need box sets to binge on as much. You don't need to be indoors inventing things to do. You can just go outside and play. That's what the weather does. Play if you're a child, and have fun if you're a man or a woman like me. But yeah, so I think it offers a lot, but it definitely needs to be considered because it's not super simple to just rip up your roots and move to another country. No. And that's probably the subject of another video, my moving to Spain video, or my other videos out there on this topic. You want to check those out if you haven't already. But 18 months in, amazing move for us. And thanks for supporting the channel. If you like this content, make sure you subscribe to the channel so you don't miss another video. Hit the thumbs up and hit the bell icon, and you will be notified of all new videos coming out there. I talk about watches, fragrances, lifestyle,
a bunch of stuff. And I see there in the backyard that he's probably in some comunidad, right? He probably lives in some house or apartment, kind of like what you see there in the background. I see the the floating device there. So he probably has a pool somewhere, and with great, that's the life you have. And is it better than an apartment at an expensive little place Of course. Yes. Now, it is not for everyone. Maybe your lifestyle, what's important for you, your family, the things you enjoy, you are losing those when you leave London or wherever it is in UK. And it's not going to work for you. So it is very much a personal thing, even though you can do an objective analysis of healthcare, weather, cost of living, how much it costs to go out and have fun and eat. All of those things you can definitely do. One of the things he does not mention is the aspect of how cultures have changed in one place and the other, and this is massive. Spain is very much still Spanish. There's immigration like everyone else. Yes, he mentioned a bunch of people from other parts of Europe, and there are going to be people from the more Middle Eastern origin that, yeah, it's going to be, as you probably understand how it goes. But he's not mentioning the important aspect that UK is very much, gone that way in terms of you have maybe 3, 4, 5, maybe even 5 or 6 times more the amount of Middle Eastern people with a very different culture, with very different religions all over the UK as of right now. This has a massive impact in culture, in the way of life, in security as well. Spain is considerably safer than UK, anywhere you go. It's just not an opinion, it's a fact based on the data, on the numbers, which are not always as easy to find because they try to keep them hidden. All of these gangs of Asian origin doing horrible things, especially against little children, all of those things are I'm not saying it does not exist, I'm saying it's far, far less common in Spain. That's why at 11, he says his kids play like 6, 7, kids in Spain play on the street up until 11, 12 p.m. in summer. They're just playing football in the park up until 11 p.m. Hey, come back home. You hear someone screaming and yeah. It's just a different lifestyle. And yeah, definitely something he clearly enjoys. Folks, again, follow his channel, follow my channel as well. If you want to learn more about this stuff, this is what I actually do. So you have the books for all of this below there in the description of the video. Take care. See you next time.